Hi, everyone. Welcome to another session of Rooted in Greatness, a faith based program focused on supporting athletes' mental well being and helping them grow in emotional strength, leadership, and identity alongside their performance. I'll be your host today. My name is Norgib Lewy. I'm an international student athlete, a tennis player, and currently a senior in college. I'm very, very excited to have today's guest here with me, Daniela Hernandez, a good friend of mine that I met this past summer. And yeah, I can't wait for everyone to hear her story. She's a former D1 student athlete, and she'll share more about that in a minute. But yeah, Daniela, how are you, first of all? And just share a little bit about yourself to everyone.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm so excited for this conversation. Like Nora said, a day one former athlete. I like to consider myself that I'm still an athlete because I feel like it's more like something that stays with you. But as you can see, I'm originally from Venezuela, from Caracas, Venezuela. I moved here in 2014. I was 13 at the time. I got a tennis scholarship at the John McEnroe Tennis Academy. So I did middle school and high school here in New York City. Then I went on to play at the University of Louisiana Monroe for 2 years, then transfer out to Eastern Kentucky University where I got my bachelor's degree. And now I'm in Wagner about to finish my MBA, the MBA program. And I'm super excited. I've been working as a grad assistant for the past 2 years. So that's been really cool because I've gotten to have like experience outside of like the tennis world, but still like using the skills that I've learned in tennis, if that makes sense. So it's been really fun. And yeah, I'm excited to get this started.
That's amazing. But tell me a little bit like how did tennis start for you, first of all? And when did you decide to take it seriously? Like knowing that you left your hometown, as you said, your country when you were 13, 14. Like, is that when you decided to take it seriously? How did you get that scholarship? How did that all happen?
Yeah, so basically, like I started playing tennis when I was 6, and I used to go to school right next to the Venezuelan Tennis Federation, like literally like 2 blocks away, like in the same street. So whenever I would drive with my dad, we would kind of pass like the tennis courts, and I would be like, "Oh, like what is that? Dad, like what are they doing there? Like that looks kind of cool, right?" And like my dad hated like having me at home without doing anything and just watching TV, like because he like grew up doing sports, so like he wanted me to do something as well. And then one day he just took me and I started playing tennis like twice a week, and I was like, oh my god, like this is so fun. But I was so bad. Like I'm not naturally like an athlete. Like it's something that kind of like I earned. Like it was a lot of hard work. So I did tennis, then I did a little bit of swim for like a year. So I was doing like both of them at the kind of at the same time. And then I started taking it a little bit more serious because I always had like really good work ethic and the coaches really liked that. And the coaches started telling my parents like she should come on more days and more days. And then 2 days a week started being 3 days a week, and then 4 days a week, and then 5 days a week. And then out of nowhere I started playing like national tournaments, all this stuff. I think I started playing national tournaments probably when I was 8 years old. And then I transitioned to a different coach outside of the Venezuelan Tennis Federation that used to be a coach there for the adult program. And my dad really liked him. And he was starting like his program all over again at a different club. And I was basically like his only student for about 3 months. After those 3 months, I started winning everything, 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 everything. And he got like so many different people to come because they were asking me like who's training this girl? Like she's doing so good, right? And I kind of started doing international tournaments a little bit before that. But I think the pivot point for me was when I played Eddie Hearn Orange Bowl. I played in the 12th and the 14th, and it was a great experience for me. And got that exposure to like how competitive tennis is. And after playing the tournaments, I didn't do that well. Like I got to like the second round both times that I played, but it was just so amazing. And I fell in love with tennis like the first time that I picked up a racket. And then coming here to New York, I went to the John McEnroe Tennis Academy for like 2 weeks because one of the directors of the academy at the time was Venezuelan. So my dad decided to reach out to him and see like if maybe I could practice here for like a week or two and see like how I was there. And like he was like, yes, of course. And they really, really liked how I play and my discipline again, and just how eager I was to like getting better. And this is kind of like when it all started happening, because back home there was a lot of protests like in 2014. That's when all the protests with like the government and like all the political got really, really, really heated. And we were here in the US from like November to like January, kind of, because Orange Bowl is played like November through like December. So we were seeing everything that was happening back home. And it was a combination of like, okay, like we still obviously have to go back home to like arrange everything. But like the people from the academy were like, if you ever decide on moving to the US and you decide to move to New York, we'll give her like a full scholarship, but she can train here for free. And I was 12 at the time. But I don't know, like I just saw like compared to obviously what I had back home, I used to train in two courts in the middle of like not a really amazing place. And then I come here and like I see Orange Bowl Eddie here. I see that where they're offering me a scholarship, and I see that like the infrastructure, the coaches, like all the plans that they do, and they have fitness and they have yoga and they have mental toughness, like all these different things that I was like, what is like this is where I'm supposed to be. And I was only 12, you know? So like realizing that at a short age was kind of like, wow. So we went back home. Obviously I was scared because I was young and I was seeing everything that was happening on TV, but my mom was still there and everything. So we had to arrange things. And my parents are divorced. They got divorced when I was like 3. So we kind of all got together and decided. And like I told my parents, like, I don't know, but something is telling me like I have to take this opportunity. I have to go to New York. And my mom, I don't know how, because now I look back at it and it's kind of like I'm an only child. So letting your only child go to the US with like her dad for me is like the action like the biggest action of love like a mother can do, like letting her only child go to like chase her dreams. For me that was something that I'm like, wow, you know, like, and I don't know, that's kind of how tennis started for me. It was just like I just love the game so much. Even now, like even if I'm not playing, I just love being around tennis, and I want to give younger athletes like the opportunity to chase their dreams. And it's not always going to be just becoming a professional tennis player, you know, like, or a professional athlete. But I just think like sports in general teach you like so many amazing things, so many skills. Like your IQ is just insane, you know, and like all like for me, like I'm a big believer in God. For me, it's like God gave me tennis to kind of give me all of these opportunities and open so many doors for me, right? So that's kind of like the story. I don't know, like it was kind of like I didn't decide like, oh, I'm gonna like be a professional tennis player. I'm gonna move to New York. No, like it was just like one step after another that kind of led me to where I am now, because no one in my family played a sport like to this level, you know. So we didn't really know what we were getting into. Like my parents had no idea. They were just like, oh, this girl is gonna go like twice 3 times a week, it's gonna be chill, like she's gonna play maybe in at country clubs and we'll be fine. Like should we just do some activities maybe for networking and whatever. But we had no idea what was gonna happen, right? So that's kind of like my journey to being here in the US on like the athletic aspect.
That's amazing. That's a crazy story. Like, and I love how you talked about the different aspects and the different like things that you had to kind of deal with, as you said, like first at 12, you know, kind of also you wanted to take that decision and like
Mhm.
it's a commitment after all. 'Cause like let's say even if your parents took that decision to you, you have to commit to it. Like you can just move out all the way from Venezuela to New York to be in academy, have a scholarship, and just show up and just, you know, I'm here. You know, it's
Yeah,
actually a big commitment that, you know, you had to take at 12 on your own, which is crazy, you know, but
yeah,
I love how you talked about, you know, the decision and like the part your parents had to like the decision they had to make too, because it's like your dad moving with you to New York, like that just changed everything for his life too. Like, you know, he's just leaving everything
yeah,
home, your mom just letting you, as you said, like go chase your dreams. And I feel like, you know, it's crazy because we think like we're taking the scary decision of like, oh my God, like for me, I when you know moving to college, like I'm like, oh my
mhm,
God, like I have to move out for four
mhm.
years and live on my own. But I don't think like now that I'm almost done with it, I'm like, well, my parents had to also commit to it to like let me go.
Yeah,
I know like a lot of my friends that, you know, their parents will never let them go this far. They'll be like, no, just go to Europe, get a master's,
yeah,
get degree, like get a degree in
mhm,
Europe, like which is 2 hours away, a flight, and you're good. You can see your parents every month, you know, but it is actually a commitment of a whole family, as you said. And I love that that you realized that and you shared that.
Yeah.
So no, but that's an amazing that's an amazing story. Like, but I also want to know like how was later the transition to college,
Mhm.
like the transferring, like, finding your right place. You've been at now three different schools, but,
Mm.
competing for two different teams. How was that experience? What was the difference? What
Yeah.
made like each place the right place?
Well, college tennis. I started at Louisiana Monroe. I had the best team my freshman year, the best coach, she was so professional. Like she didn't let anything. There was not, I'm sick, I'm not gonna practice. There is not like everything had a structure, right? And like that's what I envisioned. I'm a very structured person. So that's why I loved her so much because she just knew like you need a structure to be able to build a culture for a team, right? So I come in as a freshman. I was the only freshman. Again, only child. And out of nowhere, I felt like I had seven sisters. And I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing here. And now I have to think about other people. So that was kind of tough. This coach left after my first semester of sophomore year, and we got an Egyptian coach who was insane. One of the most, I mean, you're from Tunisia, you probably know like how Egyptian coaches or men are, but he was a misogynist. He was really rude to us, and that's someone that advocates for people a lot. I didn't like the way he was treating my teammates. I didn't like how he was treating me. And that created a lot of friction between him and me. And like he was creating drama between players. Like he told my doubles partner, your doubles partner doesn't want to play doubles with you, right? She just doesn't want to. And I was playing doubles with my doubles partners in my freshman year. And she's like, I would never say that, right? Like I love playing with you. So that was really hard. I liked the school a lot. It was in the middle of nowhere, so that was something really hard for me because I was in New York, but this is in Monroe, Louisiana. We're not talking about New Orleans. This is like 3 hours from New Orleans. So I knew that at some point I was going to leave, right? And I was actually signed to go to a different school, University of North Georgia, which is a D2 top school, really good program. And everything was set. I already knew the place that I was gonna go into. And because I'm in the middle of being like an American and an international, right? Like what they do at North Georgia, they kind of give players a waiver to get like in-state tuition instead of like outside tuition. So like, or like out of state. And like 2 weeks before I hop on a plane and go to Georgia, the coach calls me and he goes, "This has never happened to me before, but like the people here, like on admissions, are telling me that you're not eligible for the waiver because you're in this great area of being an American and an international. So unfortunately, we cannot give you that." And my whole world kind of stopped because this is 2 weeks, no, 2 weeks before starting like school. And I was like, there's wait, like, what do you mean? Like, there's no way that this is gonna happen. Like, all schools like, they're not looking for players in August. I'm done. Like, my career's over. Like, I'm not gonna get a degree. And that whole thing happened for like a week. And he's like, "I'm not gonna stop asking questions. Like, I still want you to come here. I'll help you find a job." And I'm like, "But you don't understand. Like, the difference is like 20K. Like, I can't pay that, you know?" So he put me in contact with the coach at Eastern Kentucky, and he was building the program back again because the program got shut down in 2018. With the program being shut down in 2018 and reopening the program again, they were eager to get players, and I was like, "Oh, this is really cool! Like rebuilding a program, D1 school again in a really tough conference, which is the ASUN." And I was like, "This is like the level, that will be really cool." And like for a last minute something, like this is awesome. So the same day that I'm about to call the coach from like EKU, the coach from North Georgia calls me and he's like, "Actually, like," and I'm telling you, like, this is like a difference of 10 minutes. Like, I'm not saying like 3, 4 hours now. It's like within 10 minutes. The coach tells me, Coach Ken, he's awesome. Like, whatever. But no, he calls me and tells me, like, "So actually, I didn't stop asking questions and we can get you the waiver. So you can come here if you want to." And now I'm like, I have no idea, like, what I'm gonna do. And because the coach from EKU, he sent me the papers like within like a day. to sign and commit to the school. And I don't know, like for me, something was telling me that something was telling me to go to EKU. I don't know what it was for me. God, I don't know, like a sign. And I decided to commit to Eastern Kentucky, and it was a great experience. Not the best experience tennis. A lot of the girls, like sweet girls individually, but as a whole, I didn't feel like I fit in. Almost all of them spoke Russian, so that was really tough. And their English was not the best, which I completely understand, but they were talking a lot in Russian. I didn't feel as connected with them, so I started hanging out a lot with the men's team and built great relationships. I get injured my senior year, so I only competed with them for a year. And I was like, wow, like I get like I started experiencing really bad back pain in my lower back. And they were like, no, you just tired, you just need to stretch. And I'm like, no, like you don't understand. Like I feel like someone is stabbing me in the lower part of my back. Like this is not normal. Like I know what not stretching feels like compared to like actual pain like in my bones. So after a lot of tests, they tell me that I have a stress fracture in my lower back. And I had no idea what that meant. And I'm like, it's like, okay, it's fractured, but like, what does this stress mean? Like, I don't understand. So they gave me like this brace that you kind of put around like your whole thing. And like, it was awful because I felt ugly. I didn't feel, I didn't see myself. And like, I saw myself in the mirror and I'm like, who is this? Like, I haven't, like, this is not me. I couldn't run. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't exercise. I was like, this is terrible. And I love tennis so much. Now I can't play. Like, so the identity of the athlete started shifting away. And I'm like, who am I without tennis, right? Who am I without my sport? So I had the whole year without playing tennis. And I spoke to the coaches. My relationship with them was good and bad. Like it was good whenever at the beginning when, you know, you don't really have that many opinions and they feel good. But once you start giving opinions and using your voice, that's when coaches or people in power don't really like you that much. And again, I'm someone that advocates a lot. If I don't like something, I'm probably going to say it. If I feel like something is not fair, I'm going to say it. And a lot of people don't like that. So I talked to them and I was like, I know I can play, but I can't sit on the sidelines. Like I can't sit on the sidelines. Can I please coach? So that whole year I coached, like I was with my teammates the whole year, you know, and I was with them, I traveled with them, and I saw tennis from a completely different angle than ever before. And that changed my tennis game to like a whole different level. I obviously wanted to play my fifth year. I didn't know how that was gonna look because we're talking about back surgery. It's not like just some random surgery, like, right? And I was deciding where I was gonna go. And I was like, I either wanna go to a big school and play there and if I can, or just get my MBA at a big school, or I wanna go as close to New York as possible. I want my dad to watch me play. I want my friends to come watch me play because my dad didn't watch me play like the 4 years that I played in school, right? So out of nowhere, like the coach that was here at the time, emailed me and like literally it was like two lines of like the whole email. He was like, do you want to come to a D1 school in New York City and play for your fifth year? And I was like, this is insane. Like, there's absolutely no way. Like, this is exactly what I wanted. I knew like it wasn't like the toughest conference. I knew that probably the team didn't have the best culture, but I took a chance. And for me, it was more about like being able and play. Like, I didn't care what position, I didn't care where in the lineup. I just wanted to play. I just wanted to compete again because I missed it so much. And I wanted my friends and family that are around here to watch me play. So that's kind of how that has been my journey in the shortest version to how I ended up here at Wagner College. But I wouldn't take it back. Like it has taught me so many different things and I've loved everything. So
Dude, that's amazing. Like your tennis life has so many ups and downs. Like we were just talking about how amazing, like let's say the beginning of it was, right? Like
hmm
starting and starting slowly, getting a scholarship, getting an opportunity to practice in a very good academy. Then, we transition to go into college, have a good year, and then things start going down, right? But I want to go back a little bit to because I feel like unfortunately it's not talked about enough. It's not talked
hmm
about, it's not even mentioned sometimes. The bad
mm
coaches that can influence so much your love for the sport It can influence so much in the team. And I feel everything you said right there, but I just want you like, for the people listening to us today, because everybody always, even if they have a bad experience, they'll be like, yeah, I was just there and I transferred, I left, I moved on. Like, I feel like it's time for us to start talking about those
Mm.
actual situations that happen, like there's a lot, unfortunately, a lot of D1 coaches. I don't know about what's going on in D2. I didn't play, I don't know, but D1, there's a lot of, I don't want to say unqualified for me,
No,
like to
unqualified is the perfect word to
like
say it.
seriously, because like maybe they have the tennis skills, right? But for me, I see being a coach sometimes as like as I always give it as an example, it's like being a nurse. Like you might go study for how many years and okay, you have your degree, you can be a nurse, but if you don't have that kindness in you, if you're not, you don't feel for the people, if you don't like, as a nurse, you have to be kind, you have to be patient, you have to be like, nice to everyone that trying to survive, whatever they have going on. And I feel like if you don't have that, maybe you're very qualified, like skill wise, but that's like a big part of your job, And I feel like it's the same for coaches. Maybe you played well, maybe you were amazing when you were as a player, maybe you have the skills to be a coach, but we need to talk more about like the other side of coaching,
Yeah.
because especially in college, like, I'm sorry, but like, if, let's say, especially like at the end of your college career, let's say the last 2 years, you're 21, you're 22, you already played tennis for so many years, especially talking about D1 international students. We play a lot of tournaments. We've been in like way more competitive situations than this, playing for our country, playing in World Cup, playing like in big, like
Yeah.
Orange Bowl, like big tournaments that most other players don't get to qualify to or, experience. Talking about that, like, it gets to a point where you just need the mental support. I don't need you to show me how to play a forehand. I don't need you to
Yeah,
show me how to hit a
literally.
serve. I know it all. It's just
Literally.
up here,
It's not
you
even
know?
like oh, I know it all. Like, yes, we do need reminders because sometimes
Yeah,
you
definitely.
go into the court and you have no idea like what happened
Hmm.
and you feel like you haven't played tennis in your entire
Yeah.
life, right? But it's about like, I don't
Building
know,
the
just trusting
relationship,
your
I
it's
feel.
just trusting your
Yes.
players, right? Like
Trusting, right?
there's not trust and there is a very transactional relationship with coaches. Like I understand the business side of college athletics is insane and I get that aspect and I know in the US it's a lot of like business side, business, all business, business, business. I have to win, all everything is numbers, but you cannot build a culture with a transactional relationship with your players. Like, especially with women. With women, you have to create some sort of relationship with them. You know, you have to build in that trust. Obviously, you don't want them to be lacking and be not showing up and being lazy. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking like you put your expectations from the beginning. And that's what I love so much from my freshman year coach. You know, she set set like her expectations. And if you did not meet your expectations, you either had to run or you did not make it. Like like I remember one time like I went to lift and I had the wrong shirt on and she never went to lift ever in the morning, ever, ever. But that day she went and I had it in my bag. It wasn't even that I didn't have it with me. I just had it in my bag and I was like, Coach, I just have it in my bag. Like, I just wanted a long sleeve because I didn't want to put that one on. And she's like, respectfully, I don't really care. Show up 10 minutes earlier to the court, right? Do you think I ever put on the wrong shirt again? Never again, right? So there are coaches that are not qualified at all because one, they didn't really play competitive. So they don't really understand like the coaching, like the player's mindset and like what you need in the moment, right? Second, a lot of them are just more like managers and they're see only the business side of what it is. Like, obviously, you need a good management in the team, 100%. There is so much that players don't see and that also that needs to be spoken of. I'm gonna I'm gonna say something good about the coaches as well. Like yes, they do manage and they need to manage and like sometimes they need to fight with administration because they don't have enough money and they don't have enough this or enough that. But like at the end of the day, that's not on the players, you know? Like, you still have to kind of put that aside and like once you're with your team, it's like a completely different story. I don't know. I didn't have the best experience with the coaches. Yeah, it's been very I don't know. Like I know you feel me,
I
but
get it.
I would
I
say
get it.
like to younger girls especially that are coming into college, in college athletics, not doesn't matter the sport, always advocate for yourself and for the girls around you. Because if you don't, like no one else is gonna do it for you. And it's not you being dramatic or being bossy. And if you want to be bossy and sound bossy, that's fine as well. Like if you feel like something is not fair and they're treating you, specifically you, a certain way, you can always speak up. Like I don't think there was one single school that I did not speak to administration about the coaching stuff, you know? And I never went to administration for my first coach, again, because she had a structure and she had built a culture, you know? But as a coach, you cannot be flexible with one person and then not for others. Like you have to keep a structure. You know, you cannot be, I don't know, for me, if you have a set of rules, you have to follow them. And that's it. Like maybe there are some specific scenarios where you can be a little bit more flexible. Like if someone in their family passed away, if they're going through a really rough like mental moment and they need a second, like that's completely different. But like with the small things, you cannot be playing favorites. That's just my perspective. And you cannot discriminate. You cannot call someone out because of their weight, especially with women, especially a lot of so many in tennis, so many international girls that come into US and struggle with weight the first year into coming to the States. Like the food is completely different. And you can be eating or thinking that you're eating everything correctly, but the food is just different in the US compared to like outside of here. So you have to be very mindful. And that was one thing that the Egyptian coach did with us. He would comment on our weight, like he would say, I don't know what you're eating, like what is this? Or like accusing people of stealing things and like you're a bad energy to the team. Like they have to go through some type of, I don't know, mental training before like you hire these people. Like that's just not okay. And so yeah, it definitely needs to be talked about more.
I love every word you said. Like, dude, I felt every word you said right there. And especially like talking like I seriously now that I was done, I remember the last month of my college career. I'm like there should be more structure like before getting these people hired, you know? Like how do you hire these people? Like seriously, how is it possible sometimes to hire these people? Because as you said, like there needs to be like more training. Like I don't know how it's happening. I never seen a coach getting hired. I don't know what happens in the conversation. Maybe they show
Mm-hmm.
a different person and then like show their real personality. But like I love how you talked about some coaches are just literally managers and they're great at doing it. They're great. You're a great manager. You can manage like the traveling, the matches schedule, where we're eating time wise, all of that, getting maybe like even recruiting players. But sometimes like, oh my God. I'm
Yeah.
like, have you ever been on the tennis like side? Like, is
Yeah.
this new to you? You know, like it actually makes you question. Unfortunately, like again, like it affects so much our experience. Like I felt like coming into US, like nothing can really affect it. I've had really good coaches before coming to US, and then I came
Mm-hmm.
to US and I'm like, oh my God. And outside of college, I've met real good coaches in US, you
Mm-hmm.
know, but I don't know. I don't know what's about like and I'm for like which makes me even like feel more sad about this is I played D1 twice. So I'm like, if this is D1, I don't know what happens like in the lower like level schools. Like and
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's better, maybe it's worse. Like we just don't know. But again, like if you're a D1 school, like you need to be qualified. We need to be really like watching out, especially like as you said, like your team, like especially seriously the teams that have a lot of internationals. You need to watch out who you're hiring for that coach because that coach is literally their family. Like
Yeah.
for a lot of people.
Yeah.
If that coach is not the right person, it will actually ruin it all. And I've seen it. I've seen teammates come in here for a semester and leaving. I've had three
Mm-hmm.
teammates come to US for a semester and leave because of the
Yeah.
coach or because of the environment or because of the culture and they don't feel like someone they don't fit in. There's no one really helping them. And you talked about that too, like going to your second team after living in US for how many years? You still went in a team and felt like you don't fit in. And I always say like
Mm-hmm.
I accepted this with my tennis career like here in US where I'm like, I went from a very individual sport to a kind of like a team sport can becoming and it was hard
Mm-hmm.
for me to adapt because, even as you said, like, you kind of have to care for these people now too because they're actually like kind of your sisters. And I found myself, I'm like, well, it's very hard for me to fit in. And if the coach is not trying to build that culture of we don't have to be all best friends. I always say that. We don't have to be all
Exactly.
like
You don't have to be
24/7.
best friends.
But
No.
like like your teammates will be the first people to know if something is going on with your life, like
Yeah.
good or bad. If those people still choose in good or bad situations both to just act like that thing didn't exist, that nothing is happening in your life, like I'm sorry, but like that's on a coach, to build that culture. Because when you get in, as you said, like your coach, your first coach made it clear, this is how it is. If you want to do this, you're welcome to be part of this. If you want, there's thousand other teams. Good luck.
Yeah,
So I feel
exactly.
like it just should be clear, and I loved how you said people have to speak up. I literally, that's what I said. Like I agree with every word you said. I felt every word you said. That's how I lived my college career, and that's how like I went, and lived like decided like to act. Because if something is wrong, like people have to, like, to all the student athletes listen to this, like, yes, you're here to play a sport, yes, you're here to get a degree, but trust me, like, you have to realize at some point there's a big business side of the sport. This is
A
not
hundred
just you
percent.
playing, on your own individually or playing with a team or a club. This is a school. You're here for 4 years or 2 years, and good or bad, they're gonna have to think of who's taking your spot next and how they're gonna keep being successful. Or
Mm-hmm.
if they were not, how to get successful. So stuff like that. And like, if your coach, please, to whoever listening to this, if your coach is
Mm.
being unfair, if your coach is doing something that he's not supposed to be doing, if he like promised, let's say, to act in a certain way, but then there's a complete different personality coming up. If you guys are not meeting the expectations as a team, if you think like something should be done better, if you're a captain, if you're not, you need to speak up for
Yeah.
yourself and for the benefit of all the team. Like, what's the worst case that's gonna happen? Like, that
Mm-hmm.
people are gonna disagree and look at you like you're crazy. But trust
Mm-hmm.
me, in 4 or 5 years from now, they're gonna look back and be like, I wish I spoke up like her. I wish I
A
spoke
hundred
my thoughts.
percent.
Because it's true. Like, we all know, we're all in the same environment. We all see the same things. We all realize the same things. And if you choose not to realize them, it's completely your choice. Like, there's no way.
Yeah.
So I love how you talked about, again, like, speaking up. Like, it needs to be done, unfortunately, more in college. But tell me a little bit about how you felt, getting that surgery done, getting to transfer to a new school with
Mm-hmm.
just a fresh surgery done, not knowing how you're gonna compete. But as you said, my only expectation, like that mindset change, because
Mm-hmm.
after going through that, going to a whole new team, a whole new school again, and you kind of know that you're expected to compete at a certain level, but all you cared about at that point is to enjoy it, have your family there, have your close people there. So tell me about that mindset switch and how it happened.
Honestly, like I had the surgery, and that was, I don't know if this is gonna sound good, but that was probably the easiest part. Like, you're in the surgery, right? Like, you're asleep, you're not really feeling anything. Then you wake up and you feel weak. I felt very drowsy. I felt like I felt like I was high for like a whole day and a half. And I was like, I can't keep doing this. Like, I need to stop taking these meds, right? I think the toughest part, and thankfully my mom came to Kentucky, and she stayed with me for like 10 days. And I was like, before the surgery, I was like, Mom, I don't need you. Like, I'll be fine. My friends are here. Like, I'm fine. I was so wrong. I was so happy that she was there with me, and she made those 10 days feel so much easier. And again, like, I feel like we don't give parents sometimes enough credit for what they do, but she flew all the way to take care of me. And I don't know, like, I was kind of taking it one day at a time. For me, it was like, okay, like, it's getting closer for me until I play. It's getting closer for me until I play. I'm doing PT. I'm doing all the right things that I need to be doing. I couldn't twist for like a few weeks. So like, I couldn't twist my body. So like, I had to like still wear the brace for like a month, I think, which I hated, but I still had to wear it. But I was like, okay, like, I'm starting to get back to it. My strength and conditioning coach at EKU was amazing. He helped me before surgery. Like, I was still lifting, I was still doing things because the stronger you are going into surgery, the faster you're going to recover, right? So I was still doing things to try to keep my body ready for after. So I was done with the surgery, and a few weeks went by, and I started doing PT. I started doing lifts little by little. I remember the first time I did a back squat again, I was like, oh my God, like, is my back going to break? Like, I don't know, like once the first time I played after like what, 7 months, I was like, I missed this, like, I miss this feeling. I miss grabbing the racket. Like, I'm so happy I'm back. And I took it easy, I kind of took it one day at a time. Once I started in college, I spoke to the coach, and the coach, I was like, look, I'm about to go into surgery in like 2 weeks. Like, I'm telling you straight up front, like, I have no idea how my body's gonna feel after this. If you still want me to come to Wagner, I'll do it, but I completely understand if you don't want to, right? I can't ask for transparency if I'm not giving transparency first, right? That's kind of how I am and how I think. I come to Wagner. He knew that I just had surgeries. We started kind of slow. Like, I was practicing twice a week, then I started 3 times a week. Then I was like, okay, I'm feeling good. Like, I got this. And like, I started going more. And then the first tournament was so bad. Like, I got killed, but I was just so happy to be on court. I don't know. I was just grateful. Like, I was taking each match as the last one. There was also like a lot of stuff going on back home, and that also gave me so much more, I don't know, like strength to play, because in like, I don't want to get political, but like in 2024, like our elections got stolen, and like people were going to protest, and like there were students my age that were getting their freedom taken away from them. And I don't know, it felt for me, like, yeah, people say like play for yourself, but I never felt like I played just for me. I always play for my team, regardless of what team and what school I was at. I always play for my team, always play for my country, always play for my family. But that last year of college tennis, I played for my entire country every single time I step on the court. Because I was like, if I'm here, like, it's for something. Like, I'm not the brightest person, I'm not the most hardworking person. Like, I am, yes, but I'm not the best one to be here, but I feel blessed. So if I'm gonna be here, I'm gonna represent where I come from, and I'm not gonna take it for granted, because I knew through not playing one whole year how much I was missing it. So I knew that after my fifth year, I was gonna be done. I was just very grateful and very blessed to just be on court competing, which is like what I just love doing.
I love that. I love that. And I love how, thank you for sharing that, because that's not easy to talk about, you know. But I love how you said, you overcoming the injury, you overcoming the surgery, taking it step by step. Because I do believe, as you said, like, yes, getting the surgery done is definitely the easiest step of all, like the whole process. But no, I love like you finding your purpose, like it's unfortunately, which is I think is the good side about injuries, because there's always good and bad, and everything.
Mhm,
And I do believe, injury is gonna direct you, and to finding your purpose again. And it might be different as you like now, like, telling yourself like my purpose is that I'm playing for everyone who can't, or everyone that is losing their freedom, or everyone is losing, I don't know, their opportunities, or not being gifted opportunities like I am, and yes, like people don't realize that like a lot of us student athletes are playing for something way bigger than us,
mhm,
and doing what we do for something again way bigger than us. And I think like that's something really good to share actually, because people need to know like this is just not a sport. Like you're not just stepping on court, you practice all week, step on court and play, and lose or win, you're trying to show something. You're trying to represent your country. You're trying to play for your family who gave you this opportunity. You're trying to play for your younger self who worked all that, like those
mhm,
many years. Like it's way more than just a tennis game or whatever sport you play. It's way more than that. And not because student athletes, we don't speak about it. We don't have the platform really to speak about that. It's just like do your job and leave. Like, how many players are
yeah,
doing this. I feel like it's these conversations again should be spoken more about, openly. Like, hey, I'm doing this for a bigger purpose. I have
yeah,
other things like that I'm thinking about. And I feel like as professionals, for example, right? I feel like that they have kind of a better, let's say, an open space platform to talk about that, and
Mhm.
they have a like a more, let's say, heard voice where if they speak about things like this, it's people accept it, hear it, but as student athletes, unfortunately, feel we don't even sometimes have that open space.
Yep.
Even just with your team or coach, you can't really like, let's say you're now in conference play and you're going out there and tell them, well, I'm gonna play because, in my country this is happening. Like they'll look at you like, okay, we don't care. But
Mhm.
I feel like if again, I think it all starts from the culture of the team, of the coach, of what he gives the culture to the team is. But I definitely agree that and believe
Yeah.
that these things should be spoken about more, because
Yeah, I think it depends a lot on the team too. And
Mhm.
again, I don't want to get political. However, I think
Yeah,
like athletes on in college or professional, like they're allowed to make a political standpoint on court. I don't see why that's a bad thing or a negative thing because you're more than just an athlete. I remember like my sophomore year, we had an Ukrainian girl on our team, and that was back in 2021. That was the first time, like, then when Russia bombed Ukraine, and she was going through a lot of like her personal things. And she talked to us and she was like, I'm gonna play with like the Ukrainian flag on my face, and like not wear greeting on our cheeks. And she asked, like, do you guys want to do it? Like, do you want to help me through this? Like, I want to make a statement. And we all said yes, because we stood with her, even though we were not from the same country, felt for her, and like that's what makes a team become a team, not just a group of people. Like there's two things. There is a group of people and there is a team, and like then it's a family. And that team that I had at ULM was probably one of the best teams I've had, and we were together through a lot of different things, and I think when you're able to be that vulnerable with your teammates and them coming with you and getting together for something that big, I think that's the whole point of sports. And I love when athletes make a statement. Like, I think if you have a platform, use it. And if other people can't handle it, then that's that's their own doing. Like, that's on them.
I love that. I love that, Daniela, and thank you for sharing that. Again, yeah, as you said, like that's what makes a team a real team, and that what makes a real athlete more loved, more respected, using their voice, using their platform, to talk about things. It's not just that should be talked about, but whatever they want to talk about, in a right way, respectful way. But no, like now we talked a lot about, the tennis side of you, like about your journey, how it all started, the mental side of it, you overcoming coaches, you overcoming like, moving away, injuries, all of that. Now I want to like, I mean, and I know it already, like us talking, like I feel
Mhm.
like you're standing up for something again bigger than you. You're like there, like you're like I'm going against everyone. Like I'm gonna fight for what I want to, and we can feel that energy from you just talking to you. But now that, you kind of stepping away a little bit of tennis, I know like you still love the sport, you're still around it, but we still like we're not doing the competitive side anymore of tennis. Who are you when you're not performing? What's your purpose, outside of the tennis court now? What keeps you going? What keeps you grounded? Tell us a little bit about that.
That's a great question. I think we all come to this point in our life where we kind of realize that you kind of don't know like what your exact path is, right? Like you can have an exact written down of like what your plan, your purpose is, and like you may think that you have everything figured out and I'm gonna get a job and then I'm gonna get married and then I'm gonna have kids and then I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna buy a house, whatever, all these different things. But that's the fun thing of life that you just never know, right? For me, I know and I've always known like I'm a leader on like in sports, outside of the core, all these different things. Like that's where I know I'm gonna be a leader in the sports industry, not just to say that to like brag, but that's just in me, right? I love advocating for people. I love helping people. I love telling people, hey, like if you do this, it might not be the best way. Like maybe if you do this might be a little better, but also just kind of like we talked about earlier, like giving others the opportunity to shine even more, right? And like this is something that I kind of understood. You don't need to turn other people down in order for you to have your own light. Like we can all uplift each other. And that is so hard to to find people that understand that, you know? And I wish we knew more about that, but or like we talked about that a bit more, like especially as women in the sports industry, like the whole purpose is like to lift each other up, not compete with each other. I think like women are so strong and we're able to have so much like influence on other people, and we need to learn how to use it better and like how to work together better. And I don't know yet, like what's gonna happen. Like I know again, like I want to help people. I want to still be around the sport or sports in general. For me, like giving younger people the opportunity to travel, play their sport, maybe not feel burned out, learn the psychology aspect of being an athlete is like so important. Like these conversations that we're having now, like expanding that to way more people and younger athletes that might realize things a little bit late. But I just think having organic conversations helped them kind of realize that, things that you might realize when you're way older. And for me, like what keeps me grounded is just like seeing kind of how far I've come and taking it still one day at a time. I'm someone that I'm very hard on myself and I expect a lot from me because I have given so much of myself, but also just being kind of to me. Like we're still learning and we're still so young that there's still so many things that we have to do and learn. But, and do I know exactly what's going to happen in a year? I have no idea. No clue. But again, everything kind of changes. And I have a direction of where I want to go, of course, but I think I'm kind of done planning something out. And for someone that loves control and planning, like that's like a big thing to say, you know? But yeah, I'm kind of just taking it one day at a time and creating a direction for myself and realizing what rooms I like to be in and which ones I don't. Like what do I like to be a part of, why I don't like to be a part of, and kind of going in that route. Yeah, for sure, it's going to be something in sports. I just love the mindset around it and giving more people, younger athletes, the opportunity to excel and shine is for me is like the best thing ever.
Love that, love that, love that purpose, love the perspective, how you look at things, because, as I said earlier, we can feel like your power. We can feel like your belief in things. We can feel like your energy that you want to, succeed, but also like take people up with you. And we can feel that from your energy. But as you said, like, I love, like, I mean, like, yes, as you said, like, we don't really know what's going to happen, but we kind of have to adapt and kind of like change our purpose now that we stepping a little bit away from our sports. And I love how you still like want to be around it, but as you said, like, and that's like now, like that I'm like stepping away from tennis. Like I keep telling myself and all my friends, they're like kind of also getting done with their college career or whatever professional career. I'm like, guys, we need to somehow get back to this or stay around it because,
Hmm.
we're needed. This industry needs us. Like, we know exactly like the highs and lows. We know how to deal with them. We know how to like, let's say prepare for every step of the way. And I feel like, as we talked about, like, I personally hope like any of young players like now that
Hmm.
start in playing tennis or any other sport, like just to not have some of the experiences I had, to not deal with the coaches I had to deal with, to not deal with the administrators that I had to deal with, to not deal with teammates I had to deal with sometimes. I just feel like, people like you, that want to stay around the industry, that want to get better to help people get better. Like that's literally your purpose. And I feel like that's what's gonna bring hopefully one day a change in this. 'Cause, like I personally right now, and I'm trying to keep myself around it, but for now, like I decided to kind of like take a break. Like I need like a 2, 3 month, whatever. I don't know how long it'll be, but I
Hmm.
need a mental break for myself to like kind of have a healthy relationship, let's say again with the sport. Cause now, like, I only enjoy the competition side of it. I don't enjoy the
Hmm.
process anymore. And I feel like I know for a fact I'll come back one day and give back. Like, that's all I want, just to give back. And as I said again, this industry needs us. This sports needs us.
Yeah.
And hopefully we all get to give back one day. But I loved hearing your story today. You have an amazing story. And I
Thank
knew
you.
that, but today I got to listen to the details more. But just to wrap up here, if you want to leave any final message to the younger athletes listening to us today that are dealing with the highs or dealing with the lows? Just one final message.
I'm gonna go back a little bit and kind of touch on what you were saying about the industry needing us. Is one thing before I get into like the younger athletes. It's not about heroes. Like it's not someone coming to save the world. No, it's like it's about creating leaders and finding those leaders that want to give back. Like that's the whole point, I feel like. And for the younger athletes, I would say that are struggling, like it's okay to slow down. It's okay to take a second, to take a breather. Something that helped me so much was a sports psychologist. I started working with one for like already 2 years and I still talk to him on a weekly basis. That is something that I committed to. I have not missed one appointment in 2 years. Every Monday, every single Monday. Find the help. Let people help you. It's okay to slow down sometimes and take some time off. Like if you need a second to kind of refine yourself, like that's completely fine. Like there's nothing wrong with that. Like there's not you don't need to rush. I feel like now people feel like especially with social media and seeing everyone's successes, like it is okay to slow down. Like you don't need to get somewhere before someone. Like you have your own timeline of when, how, and why. So like take your time to figure it out. Like there's no rush.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much, Daniela, for
Mhm.
everything you shared. Thank you again for sharing your story. I can't wait for everyone listening to this, today.
Me too.
I hope it reaches the right audience. I hope people, relate to everything. I know a lot of people gonna relate to everything you said, but just for the athletes or everyone listening to us today, how can they reach you? How can they find you if you wanna share like your platforms, social media, whatever you want to
Yeah,
share?
of course. Well, I'm mostly just on Instagram, so you can just find me as it's Danny Hernandez 1106. So you can just find me on there, and if I can help one person for me, like that's everything. So yeah,
Yes.
I hope like it reaches people just like you said, and these conversations like this are the ones that are needed
Hmm.
to for the industry and yeah. So I hope we reach people and this platform keeps growing because I love what you guys are doing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, we loved having you. And yeah, thank you so much. And to everyone, as she said, she shared her Instagram. Reach out if you want to talk to her. It's an open space for everyone. If you guys want to reach out to us to talk about things, it's an open space. We'll love to hear. We'll love to help. But yeah, thank you everyone for listening to us today.
Thank you.